Hello, everybody. My name is Jenny Sellers, and I'm Soaring Spirits Global Operations Manager. And I am so excited to welcome Leslie Gray Streeter to our Newly Widowed Call series today. She's going to be talking to us about navigating social change that comes with grief. And Leslie is an award-winning columnist, journalist, author, and pop culture critic. She is a graduate of the College of Journalism at the University of Maryland, College Park, and her career has included stints at the Miami Times in Miami, Florida, the New York Dispatch, Sunday News in New York, Pennsylvania, and the Palm Beach Post in Florida. Her first book, Black Widow, is a memoir about the first year of widowhood. Leslie is the proud mother to Brooks Robinson Streeter Zervitz, the proud daughter of the very cool Tina Streeter, and was the wife of Scott Zervitz, Zervitz, the coolest of them all. Leslie, welcome. We're so excited to have you here today. And please feel free to remove yourself from mute so that we can hear you and see you. And welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. I would say actually it was York, Pennsylvania, which is so much less cool than New York. York had its say, if we have any central Pennsylvania people, you can identify yourself in the chat. And thank you, Kathy, for loving my book. Yeah, York is a whole other thing that has nothing to do with New York except for the name. But it's really cool, and I was glad to be there. As as was said, I am incredibly sorry that you guys have to be here, that you're here for this particular presentation, but I'm happy that I can help, hopefully, to start. While we will not be doing questions until we get past the recorded part, I would like, when I ask something, for at least one person, I know more than one of you will, to put in the chat, because I'm going to ask questions. If we were doing this in person, we'd all be around, we'd have coffee, we'd be talking to each other, comparing what things we went to in our journals and stuff. And I would be able to see who was nodding their head furiously in agreement for something. So what I'd like to do, there will be at least one time during my presentation where I'm going to say, can someone in the chat tell me a story about a thing that had happened? And then we will talk about it from that perspective. Because even though we're going to have question and answer in a very general sense, part of what we're doing here is relating to each other and to each other's stories. So while we're not going to have a lot of time to hear everyone's stories, and I wish I could, and I am going to put my email in the chat in case anyone has any questions after this. But we'll just start from there. I'm going to, Jenny knows that me and the technology, but I'm going to attempt to share my screen with the PowerPoint presentation that I figured out how to make just yesterday. It'll be a surprise for all of us. All of us. Okay, share screen. Okay, there we go. Let's do it. All right, there we are. Oh, one minute, I got rid of the chat. That's bad. Okay, I'll have to bring it back. Anyway, this is Navigating Social Change After Widowhood. I swear it's going to be okay, really. As Jenny mentioned, my book is about the first year of my widowhood. I am now into my 5th year. It'll be 6 years in July. So while it has been a while since I've been where you are, and again, I'm so sorry about that. I also, because of my book came out last year and the paperback came out recently, I've been reading it a lot. So it's put me back into that space and the rawness of it. And so much of the book is about social things. I am a very social person, and I'm a person who, through my job, which was like reviewing stuff and being in the community and having to deal with people, I went to a point where I didn't want to talk to anybody at all. Or I wanted to be given the permission to come into a room and say, okay, I'm done being here. I'm leaving now, goodbye, and leave. And sort of dealing with the other people's expectations about when you would be social or why you were so social and all that stuff. But you were in control of that. That has nothing to do with anyone else or society's rules or any of that. It's about your comfort and where you are personally. But we will start from here. Okay, first things first, checking in with you guys. As I said, this is at your pace. You don't owe anyone anything. One of the things about grief is that there used to be all these rules about when you could leave the house and how long you had to wear black. And, if I know you probably can't think about dating unless you are, and that's your thing too. I'm not here to judge anyone and what feels good for them, but there used to be all these rules for these things and now we don't, but we still have the judgy, right? We still have the judgment. We still have the people who mean well, but go, so you're going to do that? It's different with COVID because you can't really leave the house a lot, depending on where you live. So I think a lot of that might be different. There was a guy that I was in a call with last year who was in, I think he had been widowed maybe 2 or 3 months. And he talked about how COVID was his wife had died of cancer in January and then COVID happened. And he said it was almost a weird buffer for him because he didn't have to make excuses about not wanting to go see people. That he'd had friends who had invited him to Florida and they're like, oh, you'll just be here. You can just fly down and, you don't have to, talk to anyone. You could be in your own room. And he's like, ah. So he was like, COVID, sorry, can't. And he was like, and that's, that was June. So it's like, at that point, no one had any idea how much longer we were going to be in the situation. And I'm wondering if he ever got out of it or when he decided to, but he was like, this is giving me a chance to breathe, and to not have to worry about other people. Having said all that, how social are you feeling right now? And I swear there are no wrong answers. I can see and looking at the view, oh people. Let's see. Wait a minute. I'm not in the waiting room. Once again, me and technology, not a thing. I'm trying to see, okay. Show of hands. I can't see everyone. Who's not feeling social at all? A lot of you. How many of you are sick of being in the house and just want to talk to someone that you don't live with? Like in person, absolutely. How many of you that answer could change hour by hour, minute by minute? Yeah, based on what it is. Absolutely. I feel that because I've been there many, many times where, like I said, there'd be times I'd be having a conversation. Oh, this sounds so great. And then I'd be like, you know what? I just don't want to be in this room. I got to go. And that was a lot more intense than the very first thing. Those of you who've been widowed within the year, and you do not have to tell me if it was COVID related or not, but I do understand that COVID did a number on even the very act of being able to mourn in public. Did any of you have any sort of funeral or public memorial or anything? Okay, a couple of you. That's good. It's so important, honestly. The rituals, so like I said, you guys know because you've been in therapy, you've been in these groups, the difference between grieving and mourning. The grieving is something you're going to do in some way for a while, and mourning changes. And the fact that COVID changed the way that we can mourn socially, and that sometimes that's great because when you don't want to deal with people, but also it's been really hard. So I understand that. And I spelled the word sociability wrong. I was half asleep when I wrote this. So sorry. Friggin' my typo. Check the status of your sociability. And this is just an answer for you, both before and after widowhood, and try to figure out how it compares. Once again, there are no wrong answers. As I mentioned, I was always a very social person, both professionally and personally, and in every way. I was like, hey, haha, let's do a thing. And there was a time, like I said, after my husband died, my husband Scott died in July of 2015, where I didn't want to do anything. I literally lived across the street from a pie shop and a dive bar. And I could be in either of those. You never knew. But I was mostly there because I was always with a friend who would like take me out of the pie shop if I needed to. Same with the bar. And I didn't have to deal with anybody I didn't want to didn't want to deal with. That's when we were working out of homes then. I mean, out of the office. So I didn't have to go to the office for a month. And then I think I went back too soon. And like I said, I would be at my desk in the first couple of weeks where I would be like, great, I'm around people. This is great. I can make small talk, and then somebody would say, "So how are you today?" And normally that's a question, that you answer that's like, "Oh, I'm great." And now, since your grief and since COVID, that could be a 45-minute question answer. How are you doing? Do you have time? I think that we're in touch, I think, a lot more with that now because we've all had too much time to think about, even in general, how we're feeling. And those of you who are in the position that you're in, having lost your loved one, you're really thinking about that. And you don't necessarily have the outlet socially, even if you wanted to take care of those things. Like I said, there are no wrong answers here. We're going to talk about that a little more. Okay, so what now? Once again, playing with the PowerPoint point, I found that cool little, it's like, it's hopeful, it's growth, it's a seed, it's doing a thing. It's, it could be basil or cilantro. I don't know what it is. Anyway, what now? And I don't know where most of you are, but I think most of us, it's nice-ish where you are. So there's opportunity to possibly do something. So apart from what anyone else wants, go outside if it's safe for you to do that. Depending where you are, I live in Baltimore City, so I live on a street where if you open your door, you could literally hit somebody with a dog that's walking down the street. I used to live in South Florida in a place that I was like up on a hill with a porch and a whole thing. So I had a certain amount of privacy to be on my porch because I could sit there and no one would see me or bother me. People try to walk by, you kind of give them the universal, you don't have to come up here sign. But it was nice to sort of feel the sun on your face for a little bit and then go back inside. Also moving. Show of hands. Is anyone, and like I said, I don't know. I know this is within a year, so I don't know how close your losses are. But has anyone resumed either walking or doing any sort of like physical stuff that like maybe like a yoga class online where you can see other people, that kind of thing? Excellent. From my own perspective, once again, this is pre-COVID, I liked going to yoga classes because you had to be quiet for 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes and people left you the hell alone because nobody was gonna, it was social. Like, I'm here in this place, and I sobbed my first yoga class I went to. It was my mother and one of my best friends was with me, and they saw me. It's like, I got it, it's fine. I just needed to like be in that place and have that release. But I didn't have to, no one was going to ask me about it in the middle of like Shavasana. So why are you crying? Go away. And it was just nice to be around people. Now I've done some yoga classes in my house. My yoga mat's right in front of me, through the television or through my computer, with people, and they can see you, but they can't see that sometimes if I get bored, I got Twitter on next to me. That's not Zen. Don't do that. Don't do Twitter when you're doing yoga. But it's a nice first step to be around other people. Also the new stuff thing. There's sort of an asterisk on that because once again, depending on where you are, it might be easier to do new stuff. I was thinking either like new stuff like this, like finding groups where you can find people. And I understand that there's some of you, because of the isolation of COVID, those of you who don't have immediate family members, or people that are either in your life or in your life, at least in the immediate physical, things like this are, I joined like a trivia league, right? And my ex-boyfriend from my 20s is on it and he beat me. Ah! So like now I have like, I will avenge, whatever. And once again, hold on a second, guys. So sorry, life intruding. 7-year-old, super loud. But finding ways to tiptoe into social situations with people who don't know you. Those things are everywhere. There's all kinds of chats and clubs and stuff. Once again, if you've ever been a Camp Widow, you have not yet because you haven't been widowed long enough. But one of the things they'll talk to you about with the dating stuff is like, don't give people information, that you get ripped off and you wind up on Dateline. Don't do that. But these online groups can be a safe way to tiptoe back into people because no one's here to judge you, right? we're all in the same boat. We've all lost our loved one. We've all lost a partner. And so there's no one here to tell you anything that you're doing wrong. We don't think you're, one of the things I like about widows groups is that for some people, being widowed is the weirdest thing that could ever happen. They don't know how to deal with it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we're all weird, right? We all have that same weirdness where if you, the next time you go, guys, the next time you go to like a party or something and people go, oh, this is Nancy or this is whatever, and she's widowed, and they go, oh, and there's that like chill, you know, like no one knows what to say. You won't have that here at all. Okay, some truthy truths. You are not the same person as you were before your loss. So when I asked you before about you and how social you were and all of those things, you might not feel the same about that. Like I said, I was not. I came from being the life of the party. And also I came from being the person, and I imagine some of you relate to this, who was always the gauge of how things were going. So if we were in a place and it was kind of weird, I was always counted to be the person who would go, how's everybody doing? Who wants a drink? Tell a funny joke, whatever. I became completely unreliable in that capacity immediately after widowhood, because I was looking to chew my arm off to get the hell out of there, you know? And I had to adjust to that, and the people around me had to adjust to that. And honestly, that's okay. And honestly, that's okay is the answer to every single thing on this list. You are not yet the person you are going to be. I know in this space where you are, it is hard to see past tomorrow, next week, the next month. You can't imagine this is ever going to seem normal. You can't imagine that this is ever going to seem, one more time. This is recording. Pardon me. That this is ever going to seem like not a bad dream, or this is ever going to seem like anything that's going to get better, or it might get different, but still sucky. And that's okay too, because one of the things that I always ask people to do when people say, how should I deal with my friends who are grieving? And I always say to them, don't start at the end about how it's going to be okay. Don't say, oh, you know, it's going to get healed, or he's in a better place, or all that garbage. And also don't project. One of the reasons that I wrote my book is because I did not like the books that seemed like your healing was a foregone conclusion. I mean, I believe that it will be, but it made me feel like I had too much to live up to, because I was still in the I can't get out of bed stage. And already there's this rosy book with butterflies and stuff on it and verses and whatever, and a nice little pen that's pink, you know, and a workbook that told you this is where you're going to be if you just get to the end. I mean, I guess you've probably figured out by now the stages of grief are BS. I mean, they were never meant to be linear. They were never meant to be, you knock out one, great, two, yeah, you've gotten to all from now, good luck, you're healed. That's not a thing. Some of them you will come back to, some of them are cyclical, some of them you'll bump past and never go to, and you have to find your own way in that. The same thing is true of being social. Like I said, you just might not feel it. You will feel more like yourself again, but you don't know exactly who that is right now. And that's okay. All of those people are you. All those people are worth getting to know. All those people are worth taking care of yourself first, and not the demands and social needs of other people. So that's a thing. Wait a minute, where did I go? Wait a minute. Okay, so what do you want to do? I'm really asking. This is when I'm going to try to get my my chat back. Jenny, can you help me?
Yes, yeah, for sure. So it's likely up at the top of your screen because you're
Where it says
sharing.
more. Excellent. All right, then. I'm going to ask one or two of you to write just the questions that I asked. How are you feeling? A situation that you have been through socially, understanding that social things tend to be virtual right now, and how you felt about that. Just one or two, and we can talk about it. Like I said, then we'll do more general stuff when we have the Q&A. Okay, and Linda, I completely understand where you're coming. I moved. Um, it was around the fifth anniversary of my husband, about 2 weeks before the fifth anniversary of my husband's death. We moved from West Palm Beach back to Baltimore, where I'm from. And if I had moved too soon, my therapist told me in the first year not to move, not don't move. I mean, then we had to move houses because my landlord decided to sell the house, which was so nice of him. It was not. But they're like, if you can help it, don't change jobs. Kind of keep your things. You don't want to make these crazy decisions. It would be great if we could be like Julia Roberts or Diane Lane, and like Eat, Pray, Love or Under the Tuscan Sun and just go, F off to Italy and like buy a house or something and like make out with Javier Bardem. Those are two different movies. But we can't do that. Most of us cannot do that because we have lives and things. And I know that it's very difficult. So we can talk about that later. I peace to you and your move. Amy, I get that, man. I get that Zoom meetings and stuff. And I know it's not the same. I know it's not the same. And it's hard also when your partner was the person that was the outgoing one, or your rudder, as you say. My husband was like the goofiest dude in the world. And we used to say we could have fun in a box. I did not get married till I was 38, almost 39. And I was pleased to find this goofy dude that I had actually gone to high school with that I met 20 years later, and we got married. And instantly I had a plus one. My friends who used to go to concerts with us were mad because they lost their ticket, their free concert ticket, but that's okay. And it was just us hanging out, doing our thing. And Sydney, I'll get to you in a minute. But it was hard because he was the one, if I didn't go to something, would like be my cheerleader and like shore me up or whatever. Well, he was also and you will find this when you start to do social things out of your house again, he was the person that if I needed to leave, he gave me an out. Well, look at the time with that thing we had to go to. Okay, great, see ya, and you could leave because you got your partner in crime. And it's hard to not have that because people are looking at you now. Show of hands, how many of you had couple friends and now you're wondering what will happen now that you're not part of a couple? Yeah, yeah, that happened. We would go to parties. There were a couple couples that we used to hang out with, and then the first time I went to dinner and my date was my baby. And everyone was really cool about it. Everybody was really like, oh, it's great, but I'm like, because it was not so obvious. Adult couple, adult couple, adult couple, person with a binky. I mean, it did not feel good. And it was such a bullseye on the fact that the last time I saw these people, we were all partnered. And now when they would talk to each other and go, oh, we'll double date. And I'm like, wah, wah. Unless I was bringing the baby to the comedy club, which I was probably not going to, I was excluded, or I felt like a third wheel or a sixth wheel or whatever. Hold on a second. Who am I talking to? Wait a minute, I lost someone. Okay. Michelle says, I'm in the outgoing one, but very sad people don't want needy people. I don't know something, I have an issue, there's nowhere to turn. And I know this is going to be hard, like I said before, the person that you have to take care of right now is Michelle. And it's important to have a village. And I know some of you do not have that. And you hopefully are building this in this group. Those of you who had, like I said, the people that you used to be with, some of those people are going to be your tried and true, right? there are going to be some people that you were never close to who are going to be your new group, and you're like, oh my God, where'd they come from? Where you been in my life? There are also, and this is hard to expect, and it might not hold because it's very new for you. There are going to be some people who you thought were going to be around that aren't. And maybe it's those couple friends. Maybe it's like a person who was really a friend of your partner and was in your group and now doesn't know what to do or what to say. It could be just people. There were people who just kind of like bugged out. I was like, I don't know where they went. They were here and they weren't, like, they came, and it's exhausting. Also, we're all right now during COVID holding grief in different ways. So it's not like there were isolated, funerals, whatever. We're all in this weird grief space, both with death and illness and loss of job and identity and all these other things. So some people just kind of, poop out on you. And I would not do anything about that right now, other than to make sure they're okay, because anything they told you probably wasn't going to be enough, and they're probably going through some stuff right now too. Make note of that. Make note of those people. Because like all the songs, I'll be 50 next month. And so I grew up in the 80s and the 90s where all these songs were like, I can't live without your love and all this stuff. And it's horrible. And I still feel that way in many ways about my husband. But I'm still here. You're a long way from recognizing that this is a thing. But in terms of friendships, they're like, oh, we'll stick together like at the end of Greece when they're walking, with a carnival or whatever. And it's great when you have that. But if that happens, it is most likely not you. Widowhood, I have found socially, whether that's socially in a group or socially just in your house and people sort of beaming in when they want to, is one of the only times where things are really about you, or they should be about you. And you don't necessarily have to worry about what other people want, because you're taking care of you. You're in a really shaky place right now. And so, like I said before, what other people want in terms of society, whatever other people want in terms of what they expect you to do, or where they'd like you to come, or what they'd like you to be a part of, it's good to note those. And you don't want to say, piss off, stop talking to me, because they might never come around again when you're ready to. But you want people in your life who understand that. I have found that friends who were previously widowed have been incredibly helpful. What my best friend I grew up with, her second husband was widowed years earlier, and he's been an incredible resource to me, just so I can call him and go, is this ever? And you go, yes. And and they live in Texas, they live in Austin, so I didn't even see them that much. But I made a new friend. He was my friend's really cool husband, and now he's one of my best friends because we've been through things. So reaching out to other widows socially is good. Also, have you all laughed at something really inappropriate yet? Anybody found like the laughter and like messed up things? Hold on to that. Widows have the darkest, sometimes most disturbing senses of humor. And sometimes it's all that you can hold on to. And you can make a joke with your widowed or grieving friends that no one else is going to get. And other people might think that you're not being classy, and who cares what they think? That's not about them right now. Michelle said, my refrigerator's broken. I'm not sure how to go about it. I've asked someone wants to go to help with me. I'm going to put my email in here, and I'd like to talk to you further, Michelle. Dark humor right from the start. Absolutely. My book, funny is in the title. It's a sad, funny journey through grief for people who normally avoid books with words like journey in the title. I'm not a journey person. I know many people are, and I honor your journeyness. It just always seemed kind of cheesy to me. So when I actually, when I started to write the book and everyone's like, oh, it's about the widow journey, I'm like, there's a lot of references to like fireball and sex and curse words in this. So it's perhaps not the spiritual thing that you were looking for, but it's okay. You'll find that. I'm pretty ready to start like doing some Q&A and stuff. And it seems like you guys have a lot to say, but my main point is you have to feel this out yourself. You're not going to feel the same way, particularly when, hopefully everyone gets a vaccine and the summer's a little more open and you're mingling and being social in a safe way, um, it's going to feel different in 2 months. I swear. I swear. I promise you. It's still going to hurt. This part of it will hurt. It will always hurt. You will always be that person's widow, and it's always going to suck. Um, but I really feel like all of us have been in this holding pattern where we only see the same people, if anybody, all the time. We see them through different boxes. Um, if you can find someone to take just that first step out with, literally out into your world, um, or go a place that you feel safe, that you can, exits are very important. I should have mentioned that. One of the best things about being widowed, like I said, when I went out, was that I always tried to figure out a way that I could find a reason to leave after 15 minutes or a half an hour. And like you usually would go to places previously and go, oh, it's rude. I'm here at this pampered chef party and I'm not buying nothing, or I'm here at this thing someone invited me to, this lecture. I don't really want to be here. Find reasons to leave. I often go, when I greet the person, I would say, yeah, it's, thank you so much for having me. I do have another thing. I'm so happy. Oh, I wish I could stay longer. So they know. And if you stay longer, it's gravy, right? If you stay longer, it's extra. But if you leave, they don't think that you're rude. I believe in you guys, and widows are such strong people. I found things about myself I never wanted to know, because I never wanted to be hurt like this before. I never thought that that's something that I wanted. I didn't want to test it. There's a song from the 90s. I'm glad I haven't yet. That's the impression that I get. It's like I never had to, knock on wood. Yeah, I don't want to be tested like that, but we have been. And I think that through groups like this, I think that we're going to find resources to help each other and to be okay. Maybe not great all the time, but okay. I think it's a start.
Well, thank you, Leslie, so much. If you want to stop sharing your screen,
I do.
that would be great. Fantastic. Just real quick, just thank you so very much for being here with us today. We are so grateful to have.
I'm so sorry about whatever that was happening downstairs.
No worries, it's life, right? This is what happens when we're working and living and doing it all from the same space. But thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and thank you guys so much for listening patiently and interacting with Leslie during this topic of navigating social change.